Live, local, social. It's time for the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show. On cable, on the web, and all over social media. Featuring stories from close to home, starring people like you. Live from Greater West Bloomfield, it's the Splash Live.
Welcome, friends and neighbors, to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you very much for joining us as we continue with the latest information from Greater West Bloomfield all throughout the week. Glad to be with you back in the warmth of the indoors. That fluctuating weather back and forth. Doing that special episode outside earlier this week at West Bloomfield Town Hall. Still unthawing from that experience, but a whole lot of fun. We'll be out and about a lot more on this show in the months and years ahead. So stick with us. We appreciate you joining us. Close to home, playoff basketball is all the rage in the world of sports here in our community. The madness of March came early last week as the West Bloomfield Lakers defeated crosstown rivals in Orchard Lake St. Mary's at home in a 39-36 victory for the district championship. They kicked off this week in a whole new season. Each week, each round, the playoffs begin 0-0. You got to win one game, those one-game seasons. Regionals got underway earlier this week at Waterford Mott High School, leaving fans to wonder if the Lakers' Cinderella story that led them to this point in the playoffs maybe had one more chapter. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff has the story.
Right here at Waterford Mott High School was another dynamic showdown for the West Bloomfield Lakers boys basketball team as they took on one of the strongest teams in Michigan, the Avondale Yellow Jackets. Despite coming up short, it was still an incredible run for the West Bloomfield Lakers, who bounced back from a rough regular season to get some very big wins in the playoffs. I spoke with Coach Arnett Jordan and some of the players after the game to hear their reflections on this crazy season and their incredible playoff run.
I had to be nothing but proud of my guys. Nobody expected us to be here. And let's be for real, Avondale is a very good team. I told my kids they have nothing to be ashamed of. Those guys might be playing for a state championship.
Definitely a lot of ups and downs, but just us being a brotherhood, staying intact with our coaches, just trusting in them for the game plan. It was a lot, but with a team like us, we always gonna prevail through things like that.
I'm just got to say, like, at the start, the work didn't really reflect on us. We put in a lot of effort, but at the end, I feel like we really stepped up. We started playing good, playing as a team, started winning games. So I'm real proud of how we ended. It was a lot of fun. Like, I'm really happy that we could win as a team, that we could go into the locker room and celebrate instead of worrying about the next game. It really made me feel like I was a part of West B. I was really happy about that.
Well, mid-season, we started to gain momentum, and those guys started to be getting close. And then towards the end, it just took off. Those guys, like I told them, not everybody wins a title anywhere. So those guys will be connected, and those guys will be together for the rest of their lives. I just told them that I appreciate them coming together, because there's been many times during the season where they could have just said, you know what, it's not our year. But they didn't. They dug in. They did what they were supposed to do, and we got a district title. And then, you know, we came up short to a team that was obviously better.
With the Lakers season coming to an end, it also marks the departure of several prominent Lakers who are preparing to make the jump to the college level next year. They had this to say about what they've learned from their time at West Bloomfield and what their relationship with their teammates and Coach Jordan has meant to them.
Thank you to Coach Jordan. 4 years, he trusted me all the way as a freshman, started me as a freshman. And that's just really where I started, and I took it and I ran with it. So that's got me where I'm at now, and I'm just thankful for everything, all the opportunities, and I'm going to keep going.
West Bloomfield really started off my basketball career for real. I played a little bit when I was a kid, but like at my freshman year, that was the first time I really played for a school. So like it really just got me started, and I'm really happy with how it ended. Taught me a lot of things about basketball, taught me a lot of things about life as well. So.
A couple of them will play college basketball. I told them we'll take 2 weeks off, and then we're back in the gym with them, because it doesn't stop. We're a family, so we're going to lift weights. We're going to do the things, get guys on AAU teams. We're going to try to get everybody in school, and we're just going to work until it's time for them to leave, like we do with all the rest of them. The guys that are in college now are going to come back, and we just work.
Lots to be proud of with the West Bloomfield Lakers, and I know that they're going to be coming back next year harder and stronger than ever, and I can't wait to see it, and I'm sure you can't as well. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
A valiant effort from our Lakers at West Bloomfield High School. Really still was a Cinderella story for them after a regular season where they had significantly more losses than they did victories. They took that, they built off of it. They stayed as a cohesive unit and led themselves into a playoff campaign where, hey, look, many would have said just from looking on paper at that team, you shouldn't have won the district semi. You shouldn't have beaten a team that's been to multiple state championship weekends in recent years in Orchard Lake St. Mary's. But you won both of those games. One of those in very dramatic fashion against a rival for a district title, bringing home a trophy in this playoff season. It was a magical year for the West Bloomfield boys basketball team, and this is the kind of season that catapults teams like these Lakers and has for other teams across sports at WB into that championship pantheon, competing years beyond that because they got that experience, that bad taste in their mouth, and then they move on. And if you want to talk about that story and the parallels, the similarities, you look no further than the girls basketball team that begins their state championship hunt this week as the playoffs district rounds kick off at White Lake Lakeland. They'll begin playing Lakeland in the district semifinals, but going back beyond their championship run, the last 4 years, the girls have been to a state semifinal. Last year, they lost in the state semifinal to Belleville. The year before that, they won a state title. The year before that, they lost the state title to that same opponent they beat in their most recent win in Rockford. The year before that, they beat Heartland for the state championship. And then in the year before that, they didn't make the playoffs. 1 year earlier than that, they lost in the regionals as well. So a regional loss in the regional semifinals could be the catalyst for possibly a championship run. You never know, but you can always follow along on CivicCenterTV.com. See the highlights from the big game last night online on CivicCenterTV.com and on our social media pages. As I mentioned, playoff round ball continues this week. Our coverage of the girls basketball teams at West Bloomfield. And hey, let's not gloss over those Eaglets at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. They've had quite a run themselves. Single-digit losses in the regular season. They're on a crash course for possibly another Orchard Lake Road showdown on Friday if both the Lakers and the Eaglets win in their district semifinals round. Last year they lost in the district finals to the Lakers at West Bloomfield High School. The year before that, those Eaglets made it to the regionals, where they lost in that round, and before that had lost in the districts as well. So another group of teams on the rise. There's power plays in here. There's juggernauts. There's up-and-comers. There's so much intrigue behind our playoff basketball in Greater West Bloomfield. If you haven't been tuning in yet, now's the time to do so. CivicCenterTV.com, and follow us on our social media for those highlights from the boys' regional semifinal loss against Auburn Hills Avondale, and to see both the Orchard Lake St. Mary's Eaglets take on Walled Lake Northern, and the highlights from West Bloomfield's district round in the semis against White Lake Lakeland. Both of those games happening at White Lake Lakeland this week. Close to home, a business owner's dream come true, representing her culture in the place that she calls home. Civic Center TV's Jonathan Montgomery has the story.
They say the best kept secrets are hidden in plain sight. And in the Greater West Bloomfield area, one resident is doing more than living in the neighborhood, but she's redesigning the social DNA. India Irving doesn't just have a restaurant, but she has a direct line to Black culture in West Bloomfield. And she cultivates that through her business, Knock Twice Speakeasy, located at 6430 Farmington Road. I had the chance to speak with her about the importance of being in this neighborhood.
Very important to me, just on the strength of everything I do is in this community. I live here, my kids go to school here, so all of my day-to-day activities are in this neighborhood, where I shop, where where I hang out, where I go to the gym. And that was the one thing that was missing for me and my husband. It was like we were getting in our car and driving past all of the things, that we're accustomed to, and having to drive 30 minutes away. And it was just, we wanted good food, good drinks, and a good experience, live bands in our neighborhood.
By bringing live jazz, poetry, and curated Black aesthetics, India is revealing a culture that was already here but had no place to gather.
atmosphere is so good, and the people that come here are always looking for some place new to go to. So when you come here and you have such a good time that you're looking really forward to go to someplace else, because sometimes you want to go and either bar hop or you just want to go to a different atmosphere. But every time we come to Knock Twice, we're having a great time.
If community is defined by its shared experiences, then Knock Twice Speakeasy isn't just serving customers, but they're serving family. And it's not hard to find if you know where to knock. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jonathan Montgomery.
Appreciate the report from Jonathan, and loved hearing those stories of people that have something in mind, have a problem that they want to address in a way that's productive and helps people in the community connect while finding that place for people to gather that's special to them as well. If you want to learn more about Knock Twice Speakeasy, really easy to find them on the web, their website, knocktwicespeakeasy.com for all of the more details you need. Look at some of their food, their experiences, and so much more happening right there close to home here in West Bloomfield. From a young age, kids in our community and throughout Oakland County are learning to be responsible in the classroom, but at home, they're also learning to be responsible with their finances. Now they have a chance to express that knowledge they've gained in the classroom and at home through art and possibly win thousands of dollars in cash prizes. Can't gloss over that, parents. Your kids can win thousands of dollars in cash prizes by entering this contest. I spoke with Oakland County Treasurer Robert Wittenberg about the goals of the contest, as well as how it has already made an impact on the future of many of our local youngsters. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to be here to talk about this important program.
Yeah, it's a really cool program, too. It gets kids involved. It's a little bit of art. It's a little bit of critical information. Some of those things that sometimes we don't think about kids learning in full effect in school. And then years later, we wish that they did learn, or we wished that we learned. The Financial Empowerment Arts Contest is underway for high school students involving two-dimensional work, and entries are due in mid-March. What is behind this project? What's the goal of this project? How can kids get involved?
Yeah, so the entries, they're due March 13th. And this is actually the 15th year that we have done this. My predecessor, I've been in this office now since 2021, but my predecessor started this 15 years ago. And so it's for all high school students in Oakland County through Oakland Schools. Oakland Schools is our partner, ULSA, and then Flagstar is the financial sponsor. And they give out $10,000 in prizes every single year. So it's for 9th through 12th grade, and 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. They have a first place, a second place, and an honorable mention. First place, second place, third place, and honorable mention. And they all get money from that $10,000 pot. So we have students who are going home with $1,000 each year if they win that contest. So there's a lot of money involved with it, which is great. And for a good reason, right, and a good cause, and to encourage people to have an understanding of finances at a young age that can help them down the road and in the future. We want these kids to be in a good financial position at a young age, so that when they grow up, they can be responsible adults, hope to own a home someday. Obviously, eventually, we're talking way in the future for them, but retire with security and dignity, and but it's a lifelong thing, right? It's something that you learn at a young age, and it's important to have throughout your whole lifetime. So we want to try to encourage this at a young age. Again, we've been doing this for 15 years. We get some amazing art. There are some really great artists here in Oakland County. I'm part of the team that judges the artwork every year, and I'm always impressed by what they do.
And this is an important lesson for the kids, too, because so often when we think about kids, especially high school age kids, they're maybe getting their first jobs, or they're doing odd jobs under the table over the summer and bringing in some money, or they collect an allowance. And so much of what we teach them is financial literacy, or more commonly, financial responsibility. This is aimed a little bit differently. Financial empowerment is really the message behind this competition. How do you define empowerment for kids when it comes to finances, and how does something like this help them move toward that?
Yeah, so it's more than, right, the literacy is kind of the baseline, right, and having that understanding, but it's more than that, right? It's being able to understand it, but then to use it and utilize this in your life moving forward. As I said, we want kids who are able to invest their money, right? Not just get the money, and it's great that they're out there if they're doing whatever odd jobs they're doing, but not spending the money. And I'm always willing to go talk to a lot of students about the process, go through a budget with them and say, like, okay, if you make this amount of money, you have to have this much for transportation, you have to have this much for the roof over your head, you have to save for food, but then also you have to save for yourself, and you have to put money away if you are looking to purchase a property, if you want to buy a car, if you want to go to college, right? Different things like that. So it's about them in their entire life and understanding finances and how it impacts them and how it will impact them moving forward. And so this is a great way to do it in a creative fashion and a fun way for them to do it, because we have a lot of, like I said, a lot of really artistic students here in Oakland County, and the artwork is incredible, and they have to balance the artistic side of it with the understanding of finances and the financial empowerment message that we try to convey.
And what's impressive about kids, too, is that when they're talking about these complicated subjects that even for us as adults can be difficult to communicate effectively, for us, it's so cut and dry often, but they're still young. They got such creativity to them. And as you said, you've been leading the charge on this since you took office as the treasurer here in Oakland County in 2021. In those years since, what have been some of the more creative ways you've seen students express these lessons that they've learned and win prizes in the process?
So it's and we actually judge them based on their artistic ability, but also their understanding of the concept. So they do have to write a little bit about how their artwork relates to financial empowerment, what they've learned, and what they would do with the money if they were actually to win one of the prizes. So we like to incorporate all of that. So it's not just the artwork, but that is a piece of the whole thing. I've seen amazing artwork. You see people who use colored pencils. You see people who use the computer to draw things. We've actually seen one of the more impressive ones we've seen over the years was a stop motion. Someone did a stop motion film that was truly incredible. We've had students who also do, like, they actually film videos. So there's a lot of great work. And if people actually at home want to check out some of the work from previous years, it's actually living on our website. So all the students that submit their artwork, that artwork is actually put up in person here at in the treasurer's office. So if they ever want to walk by and see the artwork, they can do that in our office, but then they're also on our website. So right now you can go oakgov.com/treasurer, and then you click on the art contest and you can actually look at previous year's artwork, and you will, I promise you will be impressed that these students, and a lot of them, you're like, this is only a freshman in high school and they're doing this amazing work. It is incredible.
Oakland County Treasurer Robert Wittenberg joins us on the Splash Live to talk about the 2026 Financial Empowerment Arts Contest, open to high school students in Oakland County, grades 9 through 12. Entries due in mid-March. More information, oakgov.com/treasurer, or follow Oakland County on Facebook at oakgov. And Treasurer Wittenberg, it's no secret that the financial times today are a little bit more treacherous than they have been in generations past, and especially now as we're getting kids moving into that economy in the years to come, and there is so much uncertainty. How much more important is it now for the county, in addition to our schools, to take that driver's seat in helping our kids learn financial literacy, find that financial empowerment, to be able to put themselves in the best position to be responsible adults by the time they're getting to our place in society?
It's essential. It really is. And it's important, right, to build that foundation at a young age. And, when I was a legislator previously, I served in the State House, and we actually voted to have people do personal finance classes as a requirement in high school. And so that's important that we have to build it. But, they learn at a younger age. And then again, it's not like you learn it and then you're good for the rest of your life. You're ever changing, right? You are learning more and more as you progress. And so we're helping people not just obviously through this art contest, but we have our Financial Empowerment Center, and we're trying to help people at all stages of life. So through our Financial Empowerment Center, we can help do some financial coaching for people. We have live webinars. I think I was on here last year talking about our Smart Finance Academy. And so that is something where people can tune in. They're live webinars about various financial topics. We actually have one tomorrow that people can go on our website and sign up for. We have one in March that'll be about personal, like your income taxes and what to know. So it's important for us, and as the treasurer of the county, that we want people to live, and be financially secure, and be able to live and thrive in our communities. And finances and making sure you can pay your bills, making sure you can live here is so important to us. And so we're doing everything we can to work with people of all ages, starting in high school and then going on through and making sure a senior that they can retire and live in our community with security and dignity. So it is important and essential in our office. And so this is just that first step in a whole lifelong financial empowerment mode.
What steps does your office take in partnership with our local school districts, and especially here in Greater West Bloomfield, where we have 7 different school districts that cover our community, to increase that participation, to light that fire in these students to get inspired and express themselves while learning an important lesson like this?
So we partner again with Oakland Schools, which is the intermediate school district for the whole county. They work with all the different public schools here in Oakland County. So we partner with them, and so there's a push to let all their teachers know that this contest is available to them, that they can apply for this. Personally, I actually am willing to go out, and I love speaking to students. I love getting out there and talking to them about the work that we do in our office and how we can be helpful, and then talking about this program. And so I try to get out and speak to students however and wherever I can to really encourage them, again, to apply for this art contest, but also just in life, right? How what they're doing now and today will shape their future, and they have to think long term. And again, not just once they get their allowance or they get a job and whatever the money they're making, and they spend it all as soon as they have it. The old adage, you pay yourself first, right? So you put some money away before you spend all of that money. So having those conversations, working alongside with the superintendents of the schools, and working alongside with the teachers in these classes and any class. I mean, you don't have to actually be in an art class to apply for this contest, but obviously this is the connection, the marriage of the art and the finance.
And in these past years, while you've been in office and overseeing this contest and participating with other leaders in the community and overseeing this contest, how have you seen this translate from the art and the competition and the victories for these kids into actual lessons that they have taken as they complete high school, go into adult life, and get the results of this knowledge put to test?
So we've actually had some of the students that reach back out to us that send either thank you letters or send updates to let us know what's going on and how this was helpful to them. Some of them have said, as soon as they did this contest, they actually opened their first bank account, and while they were in high school. We had other ones who said they put money away so that they could take a trip or study abroad during college. Others who said they realized that they shouldn't be spending all their money on just their wants, but there are going to be some needs, and start to put money away for future purchases. So we've heard from them, and at the reception. So this is a contest, but then we actually do a reception at Flagstar's headquarters, where the students can get up and actually speak about their art and what they learned. And that's when we really hear from all the different students that come to that reception, and they talk about what they learned and what they hope to achieve in the future, and how this will be helpful in trying to achieve their goals. So if people want to come see that, you'd be really impressed to see the students that are here in Oakland County, the work they do for their own financial empowerment and what they're doing around the community.
Yeah, all those lessons you learned in math class, all those lessons you learned in art class, you can combine them all together with a little bit of what you learned from the Oakland County Treasurer's Office as you compete in the Financial Empowerment Arts Contest. Kids in 9th grade through 12th grade, it's available now, and mid-March, that deadline's going to come up very quickly. Treasurer Wittenberg, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. And again, the website, oakgov.com/arts, and get those submissions in by the end of the day on March 13th, so 11:59 p.m. on March 13th. I would love to see them all come in.
For more information on this and other contests coming up that will get your kids involved in learning opportunities and the local community all throughout Oakland County, you can visit the Oakland County government page at oakgov on Facebook or visit oakgov.com. If you're looking for a job and you want one here in your hometown, the West Bloomfield Police Department might be looking for candidates just like you. They'll be hosting a job fair coming up on March 11th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Police HQ off of Walnut Lake Road in West Bloomfield. Joining me with all of the details is Community Relations Officer Zena Daly. Officer Daly, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Tyler.
Glad to have you on as the West Bloomfield Police Department is looking to add some new members to its team, some leadership changes recently with some retirements, and so you need some fresh people coming in to bring their own perspectives, their own experience, and rebuild a portion of the team that's pretty common for our local police departments. But at this time, what is the West Bloomfield Police Department looking for?
We are looking for cadets, dispatchers, and police officers. Right now, we actually recently signed as part of our contract incentives for laterals and military candidates. So we are truly just trying to build up our police force.
So at this time, are there jobs that are actively being hired for that people may be able to get interviews for at this event, or is this more about exploring a candidate pool and then introducing them to this police department?
Exploring and applying. So you can, once you come here, we kind of will give you the job description. You can take a tour, kind of get an idea of what we're, who we are, what we're looking for, and you can apply right on the spot. And we're actually holding interviews pretty quickly after people apply. So we used to kind of have a longer waiting period where you could apply in a certain window, and then we would schedule, all the candidates at once. Now, once we get the applications, we find good candidates, and we will call pretty quickly to set up those interviews.
And it's important, too, to have this at your department's headquarters, be in the thick of where these individuals will call their baseline, their home base for when they're working on the job, but also get to understand some of the people that they're working with and the culture of the police headquarters. How much did the location being at HQ factor in because of those reasons?
It most definitely did. So we actually held an event like this a couple of years ago, and it worked really well for us. And not only are we hosting it, and we're hiring for all three positions, but we're also going to have the West Bloomfield Fire Department and Town Hall representatives that are also going to be hiring for various jobs at Town Hall.
And the great thing about this, too, is because not only does it connect your department with these other departments that are directly connected to public safety, but also the township office. These are great jobs that people stay at for a long time, and maybe it's even just as short as 20 some odd years, and then they get into a retirement program. That's why people want to come to West Bloomfield. But even all that being said, and I've talked to Greg Flynn about this from the fire department side in the past, it's still kind of tough for our local public safety departments, especially, to recruit great candidates. How does something like this help to bridge some of those gaps?
Well, now we can have a one-on-one. We're meeting our candidates, and so we can have that conversation, already know who we're really talking to. Where once they're submitting it, we don't see them, we don't talk to them, there's no communication until that first phone call is made. Where this is nice because we're actually having a face-to-face conversation, meeting someone, getting to know them, and them getting to know us and our agency.
And how does this reflect maybe the current crop of leaders in the West Bloomfield Police Department? There's been quite a lot of turnover from the chiefs on down in the head leadership of the department in recent years. But that being said, that turnover on paper would look like a stark change for people out in the community, but it's really a continuation of the past generation of this police department. How does that also play into maybe a different way of approaching hiring in 2026 for the next 20 years of this department?
Well, since I started, I'll tell you this, there's been a change because we've had to make a change. Society has changed. So it's not, we used to be able to just go to the police academies and get our recruits from there, but now a lot of people are already being put through agencies. So we have to make it a little bit more widespread and try to get candidates outside of the police academy.
And what's that experience like to come into the police department? You've been there for a number of years. You went through this process previously, coming into this particular police department. Now, on most days, this is something that I know the community loves about the police department. It's not exactly active going out and stomping down a wave of crime, but there's a lot of intricate work that goes into this. What is it like working in this police department for those that may be considering applying?
Well, we work for a community that absolutely loves us. So I actually worked at the Pontiac Police Department before I worked here, and we're just talking about different communities and different styles of police work. So what we have here, we are in a safer community. Our crime is not as high. Our most frequent crime is, people breaking into cars for the most part. And so we are really liked by our community, and for us, it makes it so much easier to give back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes plenty of sense because you get the opportunity to have that interaction with the community in a way that is not necessarily always in the event of an emergency where you're still on the job and you're actively looking at that. That also plays in. It's part of the reason why people also want to work at this department.
Correct.
Zena Daly is with us from the West Bloomfield Police Department. They will be hosting a job fair coming up on Wednesday, March 11th, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. That will take place at the Town Hall complex off of Walnut Lake Road in between Orchard Lake and Farmington at the police headquarters. More information can be found on their Facebook page at West Bloomfield PD. And Zena, people look for jobs nowadays just to make sure that they have a place to land, a place that brings them a consistent paycheck that's fulfilling to them. But what's also great about the West Bloomfield Police Department, and this is a huge part of your promotion of these job fairs or other job openings, there's a lot of different avenues that people that are interested in a career in law enforcement can go after they do get onto your team.
Yes, there are. We actually, as an officer, you have a lot of opportunities. Just to name a few, well, you can get to the detective bureau. We have a K-9 unit, our SWAT team. We actually we have a DA task force that we're a part of, as well as our own undercover unit. You can become a field training officer, an evidence technician, and we have an honor guard team that's pretty prestigious and well known. So there's a lot of avenues as an officer, but you can also come here as a cadet. It's a part-time position that we offer, and we just revamped that program so that our cadets can also, what we call cadet patrol. They go out and they do, like, if someone locked their keys in their car, they're the ones that will respond. So they're learning to communicate with the community outside of our front desk and between a glass. So they're already getting that experience, and for them, it's also, is this something that I really want to do? Do I want to become a police officer? So we have some that end up becoming dispatchers, some work in our records department. So they have different paths that they could take within our police department.
4530 Walnut Lake Road is the address. The date, Wednesday, March 11th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Officer Zena Daly is with us from the West Bloomfield Police Department, who is hosting this police department job fair that will also feature some conversations with the fire department and West Bloomfield Township proper for a number of different available jobs, interviewing very soon. Officer Daly, before we let you go, anything else that the people should know about this upcoming job fair that we haven't already discussed?
It's only a week away. Bring your resume and some enthusiasm. Come on over and apply.
We'll see you there over at the job fair Wednesday, March 11th, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the Town Hall complex at the police headquarters. Officer Daly, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
If you'd like to learn more about the West Bloomfield Police Department, they are always on their Facebook page at West Bloomfield PD. You can also learn more about jobs available at the West Bloomfield Town Hall office and throughout many of their departments. Visit wbtownship.org. We've got plenty more to get to on the other side, including preparing for some big days ahead here in Greater West Bloomfield and an opportunity to enjoy a great new read from somebody who's written stories close to home. Stay with us. The Splash Live continues after this.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4. When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
Finding a reputable business shouldn't require luck or chance. But how can you tell who you can trust? Pro tip, the BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. So think of the BBB as the better, check with the BBB first, because better businesses are honest and commit to high ethical standards bureau. That's why they're better. Always look for the sign of a better business and find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
And now, back to the Splash, live.
The Splash is live, local, social, on all social media. Facebook at Civic Center TV 15. Find us everywhere else. X, Instagram, and of course on YouTube at Civic Center TV. Welcome back. I'm Tyler Keefe. Thank you for joining us as we go over all the latest happening across every corner of Greater West Bloomfield. Of course, fall wedding season now is a thing of the past, and in Greater West Bloomfield, that means spring wedding season is on the horizon as Greater West Bloomfield emerges from late winter and approaches the big day for local newlyweds here in our community. Brides, that means it's time to find the perfect dress, and you can do it and get the help you need from a local business that knows you and your community and wants to make the process easy and be done as close to home as possible. Joining us with some helpful tips for our local brides is Liana Harris from Always Couture Bridal Boutique in West Bloomfield Township. Liana, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Tyler. Glad to be back.
Yeah, glad to be back. Have you back on the show to talk about this. We've talked previously about fall wedding season on this show, not this previous fall, but in the past. And it's a whole different animal when you're going into spring wedding season. So for you, being a local bridal shop, how do you help sort of bridge those gaps between the trends and the common themes of a spring wedding with the needs of local brides wanting to find that perfect dress right here in their home community?
Well, you're absolutely right. There is a huge difference between fall weddings and spring weddings and what every bride is looking for. And every bride is so unique and looking for something totally different. And that's something that we can really help with and that we're really unique in that we do custom bridal gowns here at Always Couture. So every person that walks through the door is 100% individualized. You know, they get to choose the fabrics and the details and everything that goes into their dress. So it's really hard to nail down like one particular trend because I see everything all over the board. Some people like super simple, some people like really over the top, but some very common things that we're seeing coming back into style right now are things like French lace, beading, 3D floral appliques, things like that, things that were like a couple of years ago completely out of style. Everybody wanted the sleek satin, very sophisticated look, but the more detailed, floral, romantic feeling type of gown is really starting to make a comeback.
We're in the late portions of winter now as we're talking today. That means spring wedding season just a little ways away, but there's still some time for brides to get that customization in play that you talked about. For those that want that to be part of their dress, which is part of a major memory for them, hopefully something that is once in a lifetime for our local brides. What is the timeline to make sure that they get that customization that they need with that personal touch that comes from a local boutique like yours?
Well, we like to try to fit into any bride's timeline. We like to cater to anyone that can come in to see us. So we have a wide range of customization options, from buying a dress off the rack and having sleeves added or a different neckline adjusted, little personal customizations that you can make to a base dress, to full from sketch to finish, custom designed gown that's one of a kind, all your own. And the timelines for that vary. You know, the typical timeline for just an off the rack customization would be somewhere between 8 to 10 weeks, whereas like a full custom build-up would be something like 4 to 6 months. Now, I always tell brides they want to try to get in as quickly as they can. You know, it's never too early to book an appointment, either for a custom consultation or alterations, or even just to come in and try on a few dresses. You know, it's never too early to get the process started, because you never know what you're going to fall into. You know, it might take you a while to find your own personal style. It might take you a while to find the dress that you really love, or you know, you might need 1 or 2 appointments before you really get that custom look nailed down to exactly what your dream dress is. So, like I said, it's never too early to start, but we can accommodate just about any timeline. So even if you did want to get a full custom dress done, you're working on a very narrow timeline, there are always rush options available as well.
And I know that my cousin, she's getting married in the fall. She just went through her bridal shopping experience with my mom and my aunt and her future mother-in-law and all that, and just like about a month ago, all the way for the fall. So like you said, having that timeline, it's the perfect timeline. You get a lot of time to make those adjustments. Maybe you have some creative idea that comes up, and then you can push it forward. Liana, for those that are looking to get their dress either for this coming spring and their wedding coming up, or even into the later portions of this year, and they just are getting started early, what's the difference in their process and what they ultimately get out of it, more importantly, when they go to a local bridal shop like yours right here in West Bloomfield Township versus maybe some of the franchises that are all over the place that have maybe a wider range of clientele, but maybe not that personalization?
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Like, it's night and day. I kind of compare it to, like, if you were just going clothing shopping, between going to a small neighborhood boutique versus going to like Walmart. You know, you're never going to get the same type of feeling, the same type of experience as when you go to a smaller boutique, because you're getting an intimate, one-on-one, hands-on experience from start to finish. Like, you walk in the door, you're dealing with somebody who you may know personally. You may have seen them at a bridal expo or just from around the neighborhood. They're going to sit with you and talk with you and get to know you personally. It's not just going to be, here's a dress and, you know, I'll check you out at the front. It's, you know, you get to know them, you get to know their style, you get to know their personality, what their wedding's going to be like. And when you really start to build a dress from scratch, the experience goes to a whole different level, because you get to be hands-on with every single step of the process. You get to help with the design process. You know, I'll sit down and I'll sketch something out with someone and they're like, you know, I don't really like that neckline. You know, why don't we make it a little lower? So they're really designing their own gown at the end of the day. You know, I help with the process and I design it for them because I'm experienced in that, but really it comes out of their own imagination. And then they get to hand select the fabric. So they get to pick the satins, they get to touch and feel the laces and the beading and all of that before it ever goes into the gown. And then, you know, they trust, you know, me and my team and the years of experience that we have that you're just not going to get at your local, you know, big box store, bridal gown store, where, you know, you're going to talk to a stylist who's maybe been working there for like 6 months and is part-time and all of that. As opposed to working with someone like me. I've been in the industry for about 20 years. My team has been working for probably even longer than that, customizing dresses, building dresses from scratch. And it's just that level of expertise, that level of experience. It really makes all the difference in the world. I was recently talking to a bride on the phone, and she was asking me this very question. And the advice that I gave her was very similar. It's like, you're not going to get the same type of experience as you would with someone who can walk you through the process, who can sit down, who's seen every type of gown on every type of body, and can really tell you based on the conversations that you have, like, this is going to be the type of dress that you love. This type of style is going to look best on you. And then they try it on and they're like, oh my gosh, yes, this is exactly what I've been looking for my whole life. So it really helps the process along, and it makes it a much easier and less stressful time for the bride.
Yeah, it's not to say that care and that TLC is going to go into the process if you go to one of the national stores and those chains that are in our area, but you get a certain level of customization, personalization, and that special care you can only really get from a small business when you go to your local shop. Leanna, I want to thank you very much for your time. We've got to keep moving on here on the program, but thank you for joining us today on The Splash Live.
Absolutely. It's such a joy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on, and best of luck this wedding season for you as well. Busy time of the year as brides get ready for the beautiful spring and summer weddings, and some even getting ready for the fall already, as Leanna said. Never too early. You can join her on their Facebook page at Always Couture, or visit their website for more information on their services, alwayscouture.com. That's always COUTURE.com. Of course, if you missed that program, you're just tuning in, you missed that segment with us, you can find all of our segments on our social media and on our website. Scan that QR code on your screen right now. It gives you all the links that you need. Pause the video, take a screenshot, take a picture of it, whatever you need. It'll take you exactly where you need to go to follow us on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, on YouTube, on X or Twitter, however you call it, and on YouTube at Civic Center TV. And the great thing about that is you don't have to memorize all those different social media handles and websites. It's a one-stop shop for you. We hope you join us to see all the latest from the show today, past shows and clips, so that, hey, look, you're on the move. You don't have an hour every single day. Some of us have to keep moving and get going, but we want to stay up to date. That's the way you're going to do that. And of course, you can find all that stuff as well on civiccentertv.com, including those social media links. If you're looking for a great experience with a book here in Greater West Bloomfield, there's so many different opportunities. We have a great West Bloomfield Library. People love to go there. They support the library in droves. And the library supports authors as well, many of whom live right here in our community. That community of readers with this avid library at both of its branches now, they're once again going to play host to some of the top local authors in town at their local author fair. Joining us with the latest on that is community engagement librarian Emily Tobin. Emily, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah, great to have you on and to talk about this, because this is something that excites so many people. It's got to be exciting for the library because you're bringing in all these different people that just love to read and love to find new information, new stories, and to do that also by bringing in people that are writing those stories right here in our community. How special does that make the experience of this local author fair?
Well, I think you just said it best, that it is bringing in people that are writing the stories in our communities. It's very hard to get seen and to get published as a small author. So this gives people great visibility among people in our community to interact with others. It gets their work seen. It gets their work seen by buyers in local bookstores as well. We've had buyers from independent bookstores come and kind of scout people out. So it gives them an opportunity that they may not have had on their own.
And it's coming up very soon, March 22nd. It's a Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the main library in the meeting room, very much like the used book sale. You're going to have so many books that are available to you, but except in this case, you get to talk to the authors too. And Emily, as you mentioned, some of the recruiting that goes on here. You got local bookstores that are looking to add some authors from the community. That always bolsters their sales, but it's got to be a great experience too for these authors, because they put so much effort into creating and curating these stories to be able to have an outlet. What does that mean to them?
Oh, for sure. It's like I said, it's hard to get published and to have all of you have a great support in the community of publishing. So all of these local authors, they have a great support system in the room because everybody's kind of been through it together. But for the library to be able to host something like this, you're guaranteed an audience. And Sunday is one of our busiest days in the building, and it's a day where everybody in the community can participate. And to be able to have that kind of audience built in for you, you're guaranteed to see people, and you're guaranteed that, someone's going to be viewing your work. So that, I think, is a great opportunity for them.
You can find more information on the local author fair, wblib.org. That's the West Bloomfield Township Public Library's official website. You can also visit them on Facebook and on Instagram at West Bloom LIB. Community engagement librarian Emily Tobin joins us on the Splash Live for a preview of the local author fair. It's always a good sign, Emily, when you bring up an event and beforehand you're telling us how long it's already been going on. The third annual iteration of this particular fair. What about this has made it one of those tentpole events for the late winter, early spring here in Greater West Bloomfield?
So March is reading month. So I like to do it in March because obviously it's reading month. And when I came here, I've been here for almost 4 years now. We did our first one the next year I came. And the library I came from had a very successful author fair, and a lot of libraries do them. But just every year, as we have done another and another, the applications have grown. So you really see that there is, a need in the community to, get these authors showcased. And as a library, we can't have every book in our collection. That's the great resource of, being able to interlibrary loan. But this is a way for us to get local authors a platform in the community. So it's something that we want to keep doing, and that, it makes us feel like we're doing our part to support everyone in the community.
More information can be found on wblib.org or stop by Sunday, March 22nd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the main library on the Town Hall campus in West Bloomfield. That's just off of Walnut Lake Road in between Farmington and Orchard Lake Road in West Bloomfield. Emily, what's the selection process like for finding these local authors? Because I'd imagine now with the third iteration of this coming up, it gets a little bit more congested trying to pick and choose. It can be a tough task.
Yep. So this year we had over 60 applicants. That's the most we've ever had. And we still have people calling saying, hey, can I be a part of it? But the application has closed because we want to be fair for everyone. But I try to pick a good range. So this year we have 15 authors coming to see us. It's gone up from 12 last year. I'm trying to create more space in the building. But I try to get a good mix of there's children's authors, there's teen authors, and there's adult authors, so that there is something for everybody, and that there is a good diverse mix of titles. So we kind of apply what our collection development process is to the applicants for the author fair, so that we're making a rounded out decision for what we're gonna bring in the public for.
And of course, the library wants people to read. They want them to be exploring different worlds through storytelling and be supportive of that. But something like this also supports, and I'd imagine fosters creativity and inspires that in the community where we have so many people with interesting stories or interesting ideas. How have you found that something like this does inspire people that maybe have had that idea for a number of years to finally put pen to paper or hands to keyboards and get going telling these stories?
Yeah, so we have had many people that we have a creative writing group that meets here every week at the library. There are 2 or 3 that have gone on to be in the author fair. There's one for sure that's in the author fair this year. There is a person that has been in the author fair previously, and she's on her second book now, so it definitely encourages people to keep going. And I think that same author, she was, she's an avid library patron, and I think it encouraged her to get started as well. So I think just being in the room and being part of that process and that energy, it seems like a very daunting task when you are just getting started, to write a manuscript, format a manuscript, get an ISBN number, try to find somebody who's willing to publish your work, or do it yourself. And I think just being able to talk to other authors that have done it gives them that energy to get started.
And lastly, if people are trying to undergo that that, as you mentioned, daunting process. They want to take those first steps. There are resources like the Creative Writing Group, but what other resources maybe are there through our local library that can help these aspiring authors take those steps toward maybe writing their first manuscript, short story, book?
So there are lots of resources. There's books on self-publishing, writing for manuscripts. So if you're interested in writing for like television or Hollywood, there's resources on that too. But I think the other important resource in the community is Schuler Book. They have on their website, they have a way for you to, if you have a manuscript or you need a manuscript formatted, they are also able to help you with that process, because not everybody is going to be lucky enough to have James Patterson support their book. So you have to, kind of do that work on your own. So they have a portion on their website that kind of walks you through what you need to get self-published. So that's a good resource.
More information can be found on wblib.org or follow the library on their Facebook page at West Bloom LIB. Emily Tobin, thank you for joining us and introducing us to the 3rd annual local author fair at the West Bloomfield Library.
Yes, we're very excited. Thank you.
Glad to have you on, and hopefully we'll see a lot of people supporting those local authors on Sunday, March 22nd, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the main library. Again, wblib.org for more information and to find those library resources at the Main and the West Acres branches each and every day. Lastly, today, winter weather in Michigan is always a fickle beast. I learned that lesson outside earlier this week, live on this program. From dangerously cold temperatures and several inches of snow, then the next thing you know, it's 60 and sunny like it's the middle of the summer. What's going on over here? Close to home, that does mean uncertain situations for winter recreation out on the lakes and other waterways, like ice fishing, skating, playing that family hockey game. It also means special training for our local first responders so that when dispatch calls with an emergency on the water, they are ready to help you and yours close to home. Civic Center TV reporter Jake Schaff has the details.
Winter is beginning to wrap up here in Greater West Bloomfield, which means it won't be long before the snow and ice you see around me begins to melt. But that can also mean dangers if you are out on frozen surfaces with nowhere to go. Thankfully, it's the time of year for the West Bloomfield Fire Department to be initiating their ice rescue training exercises to help rescue people who have fallen through the ice and into frigid cold waters.
So annually we put this training on. Majority of it is obviously for ice rescue, safety. People out here ice fishing, doing sports, people fall through the ice, so we need to be prepared for that. The reality is the majority of what we're gonna do is pets and deer that get trapped out on the ice. So we set up a game plan. We have different tactics we have for different types of scenarios, and we execute them out here today in a controlled environment. So it's nice to get groups of guys out here, men and women, give their opinions and their expertise and knowledge on how to go about things. We do tend to change these trainings and these tactics every so often to be more proficient at it. We've hired quite a bit of new people. They have not yet to get to experience this, so it's really good exposure for them as well.
Is this your first time going through this training?
It is, yes. I'm new to the fire department, so I'm getting the first times for all these trainings. It was super cool, very eye-opening to see the efficiency of the equipment that we do have and how it does work, keeps us dry, keeps us warm so we can function well. We're trained to be proficient and calm in all these situations, so it's nice to go through it and feel like I know what I'm getting into if we do have an emergency that arises.
Yeah, so with how we run the trainings, we typically have a hole in the ice, somebody is stuck down in the ice, and we approach as a team of 3 to 4. A couple approach from the front to calm the person, one approaches from the back to enter the water, and then we have this buoy that we tie around them, and then we have a rope bag with about 200 feet of rope that we can use to pull this person out with the 3 other people.
These Mustang suits this is what this is for. I mean, honestly, I could be in that open water that we've cut out there. I could be out there for a very long time and be comfortable. They're dry suits, they're waterproof, so it keeps us very safe. If we didn't have this equipment to be able to get out there and safely rescue someone, we end up possibly being victims ourselves. Being out on the water, regardless if it's 2 inches or 16 inches like it is today, it can be very unsafe. So to to be aware of your surroundings, be aware of the potential hazards out there, and just know that your fire department for your community is constantly training on even things that we may never have to do, but we're ready to do that when it comes time.
What do you hope are the biggest things the people of Greater West Bloomfield can understand about this level of ice rescue training with the fire department?
That even though we look like we're having fun out here, it's a lot of work. This is one of the one training out of the many that we do each year, and just to stress the importance of our equipment, our gear, and our consistent training.
I know summer may be tempting, but it's not time to get out on the water just yet. It's still important for residents to avoid thinning ice and frozen surfaces, but the West Bloomfield Fire Department is prepared and ready to help you should any incident occur. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Get more helpful safety tips from the West Bloomfield Fire Department on their Facebook page. Just visit facebook.com/WB Fire Department. That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always online on CivicCenterTV.com and across our social media. Always a big thank you to our crew for making this show possible each and every day, and of course to you for tuning in as well. For our entire team at Civic Center TV, I'm Tyler Kieft. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV.